Hello, and welcome back to Sharing a Chapter a Day. This is Do, Ra, me, and today I will be reading Chapter 106 of Engagement in Peril by Dara, Odoe, Sup. Chapter 106 is titled Gone Our Separate Ways. After the first 2 hours of nonsense conversation, I finally asked Shinshin what he would be doing after Buds. Shinshin, what will you doing? What will you be doing after you get done with Buds? Looking on and anticipating what he would answer, I waited for his reply. He took a second or two to think it over and then looked at me sharply in my eyes. I'm not sure. I know I signed up for Buds, but I didn't really pick an A school or a designator back then. Maybe I'll end up like Gross, smiling he giggled as he stated that directly back at me. We all got a little chuckle with the mention of Kevin Gross's name. I wondered how Gross was doing and what he was up to then. We all knew he was sent to an aircraft carrier, but we weren't sure which one. I think each of us was hoping that wherever Gross is, that he is treated well and kindly. We all knew he was a good person, no matter if he was slow or have shit for brains. I wanted I wanted to well, I hope that Gross will be safe and sound wherever he is. That's all I can say about that. Back to Shinshin. That was surprising. Shinshin didn't have a designator. What will he be doing? I thought to myself then. I'm sure whatever he does, I'm sure he can get through it. He's been through a lot of shit since I knew him, and he has shared with me some really personal deep shit too. I was hoping and praying for Shinshin then that he gets through Buds fine and was hoping that we'll find each other once again in the future. Maybe then we can catch up on old times and share and compare our eventful life and experiences during our military careers. Though each of us were talking to each other through the long plane ride to San Diego, we were all thinking something else, though. I thought about my mother and sibling back in Cherry Pineapple Grove and wondered how they were doing. I'm sure Misha was thinking about how much he hated his parents and family back in Beverly Hills. But as for Shinshin, what was he thinking about back then during our final ride together? I wasn't sure whether he had anyone to return to or if he had anything to return for once we were all situated with our state of mind then. I knew he had joined the armed services to avoid state prison time, and why did he choose Buds for his training in the first place? What was Shinshin trying to prove then? I thought as I marinated over what was going on. I thought as I marinated over what was going to be the two of us from then on, of Shinshin and me. What would become of our burning friendship then? Lost in our own thoughts, I was interrupted by Hassan. Hey, Sock, wanna be bunkmate at A school? We gonna have two-man bunks like at basic? I asked him for assurance. Are we gonna have two-man bunks like at basic? Would think so. We still in school after all. He assurance and confirmed my ignorance. Sure, I guess, no problem. I get bottom rack like at basic, okay? I demanded firmly and had already decided my position in our soon-to-be male classmate relationship during our basic medical A school. He laughed and agreed to my demand, although in thoughts I was hoping that Shinshin was going to A school with me at the Naval School of Health Sciences, also there in Balboa. Maybe then we could be bunkmates. Not keeping tabs on the amount of time that would take us to arrive to San Diego, we abruptly landed at San Diego International Airport, Lindbergh Field. About 4 hours later, we took our time leaving and exiting the plane. I knew this may be my last time seeing Shinshin, and wanted to make it perfectly right. Wanted to make sure I said the right things and wanted to make sure I didn't sound or come off gay or fruity then. Hey Shinshin, you know this may be the last time that Hassan and I see you. So I wanted you to know that you have been a terrific shipmate and a good friend these past months. Confidently and carefully I stated what I wanted and had to say that. Smirking, Shinshin giggled. Likewise, Dara, and Misha too, he calmly replied back. At that instant we firmly shook hands, almost bringing ourselves to an embrace. What are you guys, gay? Misha verbally pushed on and with his long arms stretched out, he embraced the both of us together, like he was giving us a mother embrace for two rivaling children. We didn't mind it then what other passengers may say or think about our loving comradeliness. We didn't care. We were confident and grown grown up enough to realize that we were doing wasn't fruity or anything. As quick as we were in Hassan's embrace, we were quicker exiting the plane with our navy blue suits pouch and our orders in manila folder in hand. Once we exited the walkway and walked into the airport terminal, we made our way toward the arriving luggage carousel. Several flights below our plane's door exit, we found the American Airlines carousel that our sea bag were coming out of, and patiently waited for our gear and military-issue sea bag to arrive. We all stood there in soft silence, looking at the turning of the conveyor belt as it slowly dumped out a suitcase or two, or a luggage bag onto the moving platform, and a few other sea bags. We weren't the only armed services personnel then. There were several other sea bags, almost all identical to ours, and we had to make sure that we didn't take the wrong one. We weren't allowed to make any distinguishing marking on the military-issue sea bag at basic. We all had to be uniform because it was all government property, and we were government property as well. Our entire body and whole well-being were military property then, after all. We had then committed ourselves to the military. We had to look for marking only with our name stencil on the center, side pocket in black with our last name, first name, middle initial, company number, and our last four social security digits on it. The kind of stencil that we all did on our first day of basics, when we all stenciled everything we had were issued from our Fruit of the Loom underwear, nut huggers, and briefs to our shower shoes. While standing and waiting for our luggage, a waiting passenger and new arrival left and right grabbed at his or her bags and luggage as we looked with awkward amazement for hours. Slowly, one by one, we managed to find and retain our sea bag and walk ourselves to the nearest American airline check-in to ask the clerk to ask for direction and help with getting a cab or two that would take us to our A school and designated sites. Kindly, the cute attendant clerk in her mid-30s with long flowing blonde hair helped us out. I'm sure it was our uniform that got her to help us diligently. After our request and inquiry, she had called us a cab and directed us toward the awaiting taxis that awaited in front of the entranceway. We all thanked her, waved our gratitude, and made our way toward outside of the airport into the drive-up and drop-off zone only a few paces from the entranceway of the airport. Hassan asked the first taxi if he knew where the Naval Medical Center A School off of Bob Wilson Drive was, and the driver agreeingly shook his head that he did know and stated that he goes there all the time, bringing new graduating recruit for their school and training. He pulled the lower left side lever and then unlatched his cab's trunk, and Misha and I threw our sea bag and belongings into it afterward, slamming down the trunk's door. Since we weren't going to the same station, Shinshin had asked the second taxi driver if he knew where Bud's in Coronado was, and he knew it well, so Shinshin loaded his belongings into the second cab, and before entering different taxis, all three of us, Hassan and I quickly embraced Shinshin with thanks and irrelevant promises and gestures. I took a little longer to make my peace with Shinshin then, although my embrace of his firm body was quick and boyishly queer. We took a little longer to let go of each other's hand. It was like puppy love then. Shinshin and I were really seeing each other's eyes for the first time and seemed to be at loss in it. That quick glance only lasted seconds, but seemed longer. Shinshin got in his cab back row seat and swung shut the door. As he looked me onward, as Misha and I got into the back of our cab, slamming the right back seat doors closed, I looked back over my shoulder and waved farewell to my lovely friend Shinshin Nagami as his cab drove off on the left side of ours and as we followed closely behind for a good few seconds. After a few seconds, both vehicles drove off into different directions. I noticed that Shinshin didn't bother looking back over his shoulder then to make sure I was okay or whatever. He kept his head forward as he left me then. I think he thought it would be better that way, that he didn't turn around to see me off for the last time, like a hero leaving and not looking back at the town that he had just saved. That was Shinshin for you. He was the type to be like that, and that was our first departure from each other then. With a quick thud, hand slap on my left thigh, Misha giggled and stated, You two seem pretty good together, almost a good couple. Not in a gay sense, of course, but pretty queer all the same." He jokingly mimicked our boyish behavior and embraced moments earlier. I smiled and giggled with Misha's comment. That was the last time Shinshin and I saw each other. I would surely miss the friendship and bond that we had formed during those long and trying months at Basic. I wish Shinshin much luck and success at Bud's, and in all he does. And besides, Coronado is a lovely place, an officer and brass town. Lovely to visit, but pricey to enjoy without having a few rolls of paper with you. I was sure Shinshin would do well going through the rigorous training and the hardship there. If anyone was looking over him, I'm sure he would become a terrific SEAL team member. My only wish for Shinshin then, I wish him peace of mind and to always rejoice. May God bless and look after my good friend Shinshin. This I ask. Thank you for listening. This is the end of chapter 106. Be on the lookout for chapter 107, titled Shinshin and Delilah's Early Outings. This is Do, Ra, Me, and I'll see you later. Thank you.